people must agree with Hitler. Like, give me a break. Like,
No, I'm saying he had the same kind of, ideology.
No, but
that he wanted only his race to be the superior race, and everybody else is kind of his
I'm not a supremacist.
chattel or
I
something.
refuse to believe that being a nationalist makes me a supremacist of any kind.
So what is a nationalist?
A nationalist is just someone who believes that the nation state is of paramount importance and that basically all nations are entitled to exist and have full sovereignty.
Okay, so it's got nothing to do with the kind of people in the nation.
Yeah, of course it does.
So why didn't you say that?
So what?
I asked you was a nationalist.
Yeah.
You didn't include that in the definition.
Right, we can talk about then what makes a nation. I'm just saying a nationalist. Basically, allow me to. So there are two sort of variants of nationalism, right? You can have civic nationalism and ethnic nationalism. Now, I don't like calling myself an ethno-nationalist because that does have connotations of wanting a sort of all-white ethno-state, and I'm not so much on that train, but I'm definitely not a civic nationalist. So an ethnic nationalist is someone who thinks that the state is in some way, or the nation is in some way, racially defined. This is the way it was through all of history.
So you don't believe that?
I agree more with the ethnic nationalists than I do with the civic nationalists.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Civic
so you are an ethno-nationalist.
I'm not an ethno-nationalist. I just agree with
when you agree with an ideology, that means you...
No, hang on a minute. I'm distinguishing between, and you could say this is a sort of pernickety, irrelevant distinction, but I'm distinguishing between ethnic nationalism and ethno-nationalism. Ethno sounds kind of nasty. It sounds more sort of supremacist, Ethnic nationalism,
But it's just semantics, probably it is.
Call it what you
want.
But
do you not consider it to be semantics only?
Okay, then let's do away with the semantics and let's just say there are two types of nationalism. One which believes that a nation is racially defined, and one that believes that ideas are all that matter. And I think that people, the ones who think that ideas are all that matter, these are the people who are going to basically just invite foreigners in who actually, turns out, don't share your ideas at all. And so you lose your nation, and you lose your genes, and you lose your ideas.
So basically, what would be your ideal state of this country?
I'm a sort of traditionalist, paleo-conservative type. So I'd like to see a cultural homogeneity maintained. Now, does this mean?
So you would like to see
cultural homogeneity?
Okay, which means anyone other than the white race shouldn't exist here.
No, not exist. I'm not pro ethnic cleansing. I'm not pro.
No, not cleansing in the sense, but at least maybe through immigration.
Yeah, I'd like to cut immigration.
Yeah. So in other words, anyone who is not white English, you don't want them here.
I would.
In the simplest terms.
No, it's just that I don't want the majority. I mean, I don't want to get rid of them. Otherwise, that's most of my friends gone.
So you don't want them to be the majority, but they are not the majority. They are still the minority.
Okay, right. I'm glad you say that. They will be if current immigration rates continue.
No, if current birth rates continue.
Both. Yeah, both. I want to. Fine. If you want to talk about incentivizing the white population to have babies as well, fine. Yes.
Yeah, sure. It's raining. Barely raining. Come on.
How can
they? You
mean if they're like French or German or Irish or Norwegian?
What is your view about?
If they're Northwestern European, I guess we could. I'd be fine with some coming in. But even
he wants the majority to be white.
There's no
few black states have different colours.
Okay, so sorry, what's your name?
What Norwegians don't? Jacob.
Jacob, I'm Hashim.
Yeah, I've seen your videos.
So basically, you're okay as long as the non-whites are in the minority. You're okay with that? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want them to be like 49% of the country. This is not
yeah,
like
of course. Let's say if you.
I think Nigeria should be for the Nigerians, by the way. Like, just in the same way the English should be for the English.
You want England to be what it used to be.
Exactly. That's a lovely way to put it.
What, you mean colonialists?
No, I mean...
Are you one of those people?
So you don't want them to come here, but it's okay for them to go to other countries,
No, I'm not
steal their wealth,
okay, hang on,
butcher the people,
okay,
rape the people. But as long as this country is okay.
Wait a minute. What about South Africa? What do you want to say about South Africa?
I think we're all over the place. Let's stick to one topic.
From where?
the people, the whites.
You mean the Dutch, the Afrikaners living in South Africa?
What's wrong? Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with having a variety of people in your country?
Hang on a minute, can I just respond to your
Yeah, sure.
point? Right. So, because this is a very good, I'm happy you said that, right? You acknowledge, right, there is something, instinctively in you, that colonialism is something that is wrong. It is wrong to go into someone's land and to basically, make them either a minority or dominate them when you have no
By force.
to the culture there.
By force.
Sure?
No. There's a big difference between immigration and by force. So, for example, if somebody invades a foreign country and takes over that country, yes, and not only takes it over, basically sucks all his resources, kills his people, rapes them, basically turn them into chattel, And then
That's not what happened.
well, really?
Yeah,
have you
idea-
looked into the?
I have actually. So the idea that we
So they just walked into a country and said, "Can we rule you, please?"
Allow me.
And they allowed them, didn't they?
No. I'm not saying that we deny them sovereignty. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would never.
So what's
I don't
force?
advocate
What's
colonialism.
force involved?
Hang on a minute.
Oh, you don't.
You mentioned resources. Okay. This idea that we plundered the resources from
You didn't?
colonized nations.
Africa and Asia?
And we made
No,
them
you
poor. That's actually nonsense. That's no, it's not. It comes from a Marxist theory actually called world systems theory, which says that there's the core, there's the West, which is endlessly exploiting nations, and then there's the periphery.
Do you-
always the
okay, do you-
exploited, unfortunate third worlders, and it's nonsense.
Are you not aware of for example?
No,
you know that
Africa. Why did colonized countries GDP? Sorry. Why did the GDP of colonized countries go up under colonialism, under colonial rule, and then when decolonization began, GDP just goes whoa, not rising anymore.
No, but they didn't benefit.
Europeans
Wait.
out there
I like the way you put the GDP went up, but who benefited from that GDP?
Not us.
Not you, really?
Yeah.
So wait a minute.
It
So
made us
you're
poor running the
wait. You're telling me that the British actually went out, they colonized the country at a loss. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not saying they went out to do it a loss. I'm saying it ended up being that way. Of course they didn't go, oh yeah, let's make ourselves poor.
No, but did they benefit from it or not?
I would say very minimally. I would say
Minimally? Really?
basically.
I don't think you've read the history.
I think I have actually.
Okay, so
that's fine.
So what you're saying is
I
that
recommend you look at Alternative Hypothesis blog.
if you look at the East India Company, how it actually ended up becoming.
Okay, the EIC is not Britain. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please.
It's not Britain.
EIC is not.
Where was it based? Where was the headquarters based?
That doesn't matter. It's a
No.
corporation.
Where was their headquarters based?
It doesn't matter.
It
where
does
was
matter.
based. It doesn't. That's like saying.
So let me get this right. So if a company,
hang on, is Google the? Okay, I'll let him
yeah,
talk.
if a company is based and registered in England,
Yes.
it is not an English company.
No, it's not England. I'm not saying.
Ordained by the
It's not England. So where is it?
said-
No. Of course, it's not England, but it's an English company.
I know. All I said.
The
was-
name
I said-
itself says East
I said
India.
the EIC is not equivalent, is not tautologically equivalent to the British Empire. That was my.
I didn't say it was the British Empire.
Okay,
It
right.
colluded with the British Empire.
Yes, that's true.
And you're saying that doesn't matter.
I know. I'm saying.
So if you collude with a terrorist, are you not a terrorist?
That depends.
It's a good analogy, do you not think?
It's a
You are
reasonable
you
analogy.
no it's a realistic analogy because that is exactly what happened during 9/11. You know why they
in what
you
way?
know why they invaded Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Because they
I'm
thought
against it.
that Osama bin Laden actually was given shelter by Afghan people.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the reason they had every right to destroy Afghanistan. Just for that reason.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying the East India Company, which colluded with the empire, with the king, and then they actually overtook India. So they went on the pretext of trading with India.
Yeah.
Yes. At that time, India was basically India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. All these countries were one country.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they plundered that country to its bones, basically. And
That's actually not really true, though.
well, you go look it up, and you'll see the reason why. This country, which had the highest GDP before the colonialists came, yes, they actually.
no, okay,
Let
sorry.
me finish.
Let
Let me
me
finish.
finish, I apologize.
And by the time they left, they had actually plundered the country to such an extent that they are suffering to this day for what happened to them during the colonialist period.
Okay.
Now, the people of India did suffer. Do you not agree?
Of course they did. No one denies that.
Yes, and under the British rule, yes, they did so. So this colonialism is a very bad thing. It is not something that I'm not saying the countries did not benefit from it. Of course, there was some benefit, yes, but I think they lost more than they benefited. For example,
You could argue that.
the benefits I say is like maybe they had this transport system, postal system, education system. These things were instilled, and I think they still are proud of those. So if you go to India and places like that, they're still part of their Victorian schools and so on.
It's the railways that everyone like me makes the argument.
But that was a good thing that happened because of. But do you know why those things were there in the first place? It was to benefit the Raj.
Yes.
So the postal system benefited the Raj, the transportation system, and also the education system. However, the majority of the people who lived in poverty, who were impoverished by the Raj. Yes, I think their progeny is still suffering to this day because of what happened to them during the Raj. Now you tell me which of what I just said you disagree with.
Right. There was a lot of. Okay. So, Thank you. So I apologize for interrupting you.
No, that's fine.
So all right. So the claim, just because you quickly said the first thing about GDP, which GDP was so high before before the Raj.
Yeah, it was.
And then it just goes down. That's actually only sort of half true. So GDP as a percentage of the world world, like proportion of world GDP, was yes much higher before percentage of
Of
world
India,
GDP.
yeah?
Of India, before colonization. Okay, what you're not taking into account is that actually other world economies, so like it still grew. Okay, like as a proportion of the world GDP, it shrunk, but as GDP, you know, like as an absolute, it still increased. So the reason it went down as a proportion is because
Why?
the Japanese economy went like that, and the Chinese economy went like that, and European economies were still, you know, shooting up. So India becomes less proportionately of world GDP, not because they got done over by Britain, but just because loads of other global economies were doing much better, right? Is that fair to say?
No, it's not, because the manufacturing did not take place. For example, cotton was produced in India.
Okay.
Yes, most of the cotton was actually exported to Britain. So the clothes were manufactured and then sold back to the Indians at a much higher price. So instead of benefiting the people, like, you know, the reason I'm using colonialism, because
I'm glad you are.
Because before, you know, the Muslims, before the United Nations, the Muslims used to conquer countries as well. Yes, so I'm not saying that it was only the prerogative, it was only something that the British were involved in. Many other nations, yes, they used to go and they used to take over
and that's
country.
How it was. That's how it works.
Exactly, that was the norm. That was the norm.
Mohammed Hijab put this in a really nice way. He said this existed in a sort of climate of what international relations scholars call realism. This is the realism, the realists' paradigm of how global.
So if you were stronger than another country, they would just take a flag and hoist it in that country, and they say, "That's mine."
This is the Malian dialogue.
Yes. However, if you look at the history wherever Muslims went, that country actually prospered. So
I'm saying the same for the British.
when they went to Spain or when they went to India, it actually prospered, and they did not take things back to that country to benefit their country.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So this was when you look at history, this is what I see. But when you look at wherever the Europeans went, whether it's the Portuguese or the Spanish or the English, yes, they actually completely sucked most of the resources of those countries, and they did not benefit much the local communities, and they destroyed look at most of Africa and Asia today. The reason they were impoverished is because the resources.
No, that's not true.
Africa and Asia, they have got really good resources in terms of like gold and diamond and minerals and I don't know, iron ore, everything.
They're also genetically different from us.
What's that going to do with this?
Are you one of those people who think
are they humans?
If it hasn't been to of course they're humans.
So how are they genetically different?
What do you mean? How are black people genetically different from white people?
What, they got more melanin?
Yeah.
Than you.
Okay.
How is that genetically different? Do they have same genes or different genes?
Wait, you think that skin differences in skin color, you don't think that's genetic?
No, I'm saying in terms of being a human, how does it differentiate them?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Like you are a human, a black man is a human.
Oh no, of course it doesn't make. Of course, the skin pigmentation.
Okay, so what do you mean? Why did you bring genetically different? Just by skin pigmentation? That's it?
No, it's obvious. I'm saying that's one example of a genetic difference.
Are you one of those people who consider black people to be less intelligent than you?
I think that there are IQ differences between racial groups. Of course, not all black people. That's a stupid thing. Thomas Sowell is smarter than me. Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson is smarter than me.
Okay.
Plenty of white people are stupider than plenty of black people.
I'm glad you say that.
Of course,
okay. So let's not discriminate them based on their genes,
that's not discrimination. I'm sorry.
Even the skin color. Even the skin color.
I'm not discriminating against any. Well, okay, discrimination is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, you discriminate every time. You discriminate on who you wish to talk to. I've discriminated.
I don't actually.
No, yes you do. I discriminated against everyone else right now in favor of talking to you because I could be talking to someone over there.
Yeah, but you did it by volition. I didn't force you, did I?
No, I'm not saying it's forced. I'm saying it's a good thing.
Okay. So I wouldn't. By the way,
discrimination.
By the way, choosing your interlocutor is not something I consider as discrimination. It's a choice not based on your skin color or that you are of a different culture. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Discrimination actually implies that.
No, it doesn't.
If I choose to talk to
connotations today.
For example, if I choose not to talk to someone who's obnoxious, would you consider that discrimination?
Yes.
Well, that's
like in a good way. I wouldn't.
How can it be discrimination if I don't want to talk to a fool?
Of course, because you discriminate against people who are less intelligent. Why would you not?
No. A fool necessarily not less intelligent. Okay? He might be obnoxious for many other reasons.
I'll give you that.
Yes?
Right. I discriminate against unpleasant people.
Exactly. But
does.
I wouldn't use the term discrimination.
I would. I guess that's a semantic difference.
It's basically your choice to speak to someone that you feel comfortable with. That's all it is.
For me, that's
it's not discrimination.
Okay, for me, I think we're defining discrimination.
Discrimination is like, for example, if it's something prejudicial. then I would consider that to be discriminatory. Now, if you do not have any logical reason to talk to someone, then that would be discriminatory. Yes? But I wouldn't consider not talking to someone who is obnoxious or who basically swears all the time or who might be smoking in front of me when I don't like someone smoking in front of me or blowing smoke in my face or something like that. I wouldn't call that discrimination.
I would. And in fact, you say, oh, I wouldn't. I think
then we differ in our
we're differing in our semantics. But I also say the same about prejudice. Okay, I think that prejudice.
Anyway, sorry, where were we?
Prejudice is not a bad thing, you know. Like, Anyway, sorry. So what about you brought this up because I mentioned genes, and I just said it's not a racist thing to say that. Of course, different cultures are like different peoples with different genes are going to build different cultures. Of course they are. Like, why would you have any reason to think otherwise? Why would you have any reason to think that Africans?
But isn't that positive? Let's say you bring all these good things in a different cultures and then you work together. Wouldn't that be something better?
In the same country, in the same country. No,
might be in the same city.
No, I don't want that.
And why is that?
Look at London.
What's wrong with London?
London,
look at the NHS.
The native.
How many white people run it?
What do you mean? Look at the NHS.
What I'm saying is that if you remove all the ethnic minorities from there, the NHS will probably collapse. And so is the transport system here.
Yes, I think the NHS
what I'm saying is that
a lot of reforming.
The NHS and the transport system here and many other systems in this country, I think they work quite well when we integrate all the different cultures together. They bring in their own specialities. They bring in their own variety, I would say. And that is a good thing.
I think it's not. So let me just clarify. Nobody.
Don't forget the restaurants. The English people love the Indian curry.
The food. Multiculturalism. We can have curry while our culture's dying.
How many days? How many days are you going to have fish and chips for? By the way, do you like curry?
I love curry.
There you go.
Back to topic.
Yeah, sorry. So I should just say, nobody in the nationalist movement that I know of denies that like foreign people or foreign-born people, work hard.
Are you a nationalist?
No, not only work hard, bring benefit to the system.
Some do, not all.
What do you mean some? I would say the same thing with English people then.
Yeah,
some English people benefit, some don't.
I would say
like this about every person.
Okay, so I would say, regarding colonialism, generally the trend is.
Are we going back to colonialism?
Just briefly. Economic benefit, psychologically awful. Okay, because you're robbing.
Whoa. Not just psychologically, physically. They were tortured during the slavery period. Okay.
I would say that ultimately.
They used to take boatloads of people from Africa all over the world, and you don't just say psychologically, my friend.
Fine,
okay?
physically. I'm not trying to downplay. I'm just saying.
No, but you did actually. You did downplay. You tried to whitewash it.
I didn't try to whitewash it. That's
okay. Slavery was bad.
Whitewash. Right. Yeah. No. I'm saying ultimately, when you torture someone, you beat them. Why is that bad? It's because it has ultimately. I guess you could distinguish between.
All I'm saying is that what's wrong with working together? That's all I'm saying. What's wrong with working together?
What's wrong with working together with everyone in their own lands? What's wrong with trading between people? What's wrong with working together?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Trading with people, working together. I'm saying why not work together in the same geographic location?
Because if we
now that globalization has gone global, why not?
Because why? Because if we carry on working together at the same rate that we currently are, then soon enough there's going to be no more English people who will be able to work to offer what they
breed more babies.
Good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Good point.
Absolutely.
The Greek has got a good point.
By the way, I don't have anything against any foreign person. I blame my own government completely.
No. Why
only the prejudice?
Wait. No. Why?
No, for birth rate.
So you're saying English people who decide to have only maybe 2 children or 1 child, do you think that's the government's fault? How?
That's I should say not the current government's fault. I should say
even the past government. How is that fault?
I would say.
Did somebody force them to do that?
Not forced, but I would say, for example, the introduction of no-fault divorce in the 1960s.
Sorry, no-fault
divorce.
No-fault divorce.
Yeah, because people when you're married and especially when you're religious.
Is that a thing? You can divorce someone for no fault of this?
It's more of a legal term. It's just one example. I'm saying.
No, but I'm asking. Is that a literal thing or?
Essentially it makes divorce a much easier thing to.
Yeah, but you cannot just go to the court of law and say I want a divorce and I give no reason. I think they have to give a reason, right? At least a reasonable reason.
It's more that's like an extreme version of it, but it's much easier than it was before.
Okay, so fair enough.
Measures like that, which are basically also the kind of, I would say, the kind of attack on Christianity culturally. It's as people have strived to make.
Christianity doesn't let you divorce at all, unless you committed adultery.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying.
Do you agree with that?
It depends how you interpret Christianity. I'm not here to have a theological.
No, but you believe in the Bible, right?
Sort of.
So you're not a Christian then?
Well,
Yes, sort of.
You can call me what you want. I don't care.
No, I don't want to call you anything. I want you to define yourself.
I'm just somebody who believes.
Are you a Christian, sir?
I'm someone who believes that there is a higher being that we call God, and I believe that the Christian conception of that is one of the most reasonable ways to interpret that. And I like the fact that my culture is historically Christian, but I also recognise the contributions that pagan culture has given us as well. And I have the deepest respect for people who have a conception of.
No, it's not about defining other people. I'm asking, how do you define yourself?
I define myself as a weird sort of fusion, a weird sort of fusion, a blend of kind of Christianity and paganism.
All right.
That's the short answer. Okay. Many of us, struggle with religious issues.
No. If you're not sure about
your, if you're not
in
ourselves like you Muslims,
No. There are many Muslims who might be confused as well.
True.
But most of them at least know the basics. Like for example, if you do not worship one God.
Basics.
And you submit to one God, or you basically commit shirk, like you associate others with God. This basic they know. Okay, so when I know the basics. So when I ask someone, "Are you a Muslim?" and they say yes, and then I say, "Hold on, but you also believe in Jesus to be God," then I don't consider you, but based on the rule of the Quran, that you are a Muslim, because you just contradicted the Quran.
Sure, but
I'm sure the Christians will judge you in the same way.
They will, absolutely will. I'm sure.
That's the reason I asked you what you think.
I'm sure I'm a complete heretic, going to hell in the eyes of the Catholic Church. Okay.
All right. The Catholics are under the kettle of fish, but when you talk about cultural diversity, I see there is a lot of benefit.
Okay.
We can benefit from each other, and this has happened throughout.
Cultural diversity.
Yeah, we have seen this everywhere around the world today. Yeah, so you go to any country. I think most of them today, the reason they have come to accepting cultural diversity as opposed to having just a mono ethnicity.
Okay.
Yes.
No. Most cultures that aren't most non-European countries are actually not reaping the benefits of multiculturalism right now. Why? Because they prefer to have their own country for their own people.
I'll give you one country.
Okay.
Singapore.
Sure, you can. I'm not saying everyone.
I think they benefited a lot. This is a country, small country, and so you don't say there's no countries. There are many examples I can give you.
I'm sure.
But you cannot.
I'm sure you could give a dozen now. I'm saying.
So you give me a country which has benefited just by excluding anyone except their own ethnicity. Go on. I've given you one. You give me one.
Well, it's not quite like this, but
why not? You should be able to give me at least one example.
I will, but sort of Israel, like.
What? Israel has cultural diversity?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Cultural diversity.
No, but they do.
Yeah.
Look, the Jews, they might be a race, yes, but they come from Russia. They come from all different places in the world. So don't say it's just the Jews in Israel.
No, but they are.
In fact, the Jews in Israel are probably a minority.
Okay.
The original ethnic.
I disagree. I disagree with you saying that some Jews are Russian. That's
not some.
Really.
Loads.
No,
they come from Ukraine, from Russia. You probably know.
No, I think if you're Jewish, you are really Israeli. You might have family that have settled in Russia or Britain or America or Germany.
Let's define the term Jewish. Are you talking racially?
There's different kinds of
there are atheists. There are atheist Jews as well.
Yeah,
yes, you know that.
Of course.
Now,
Karl Marx was one.
Now, wait a minute. What do you mean by they have benefited? How?
So who benefited? Sorry,
Israel. Because you gave that as an example.
How have Israel benefited from
it's in a state of war today. How is it benefited them?
Okay, it's in a state of war because it's still a very young country, and people are still pissed off with the way that they got hold of that country. But I'm saying they have.
When was it formed?
When was it re-established in 1948?
Yeah. When was Pakistan established?
Same year.
Same time, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
is Pakistan in a state of war?
It's not in a state of war, but it's hardly a harmonious little paradise right now.
Any country, I mean, harmony is like subjective now. Okay. There's tension. I'm not saying there's no tension. There's tension between here and Ireland for some time. Does it make it in a state of war?
No,
it's not.
I don't think it's comparable.
Really, like the IRA coming here and causing a lot of terrorism.
Yes.
I don't think there was any tension. Seriously.
No one's saying it, that there's no tension.
Well, have you been to Pakistan, my friend?
No, I haven't.
Well, maybe you should visit it sometime. Okay. Anyway, I'm saying there are many countries out there which are young countries, and they are actually quite well off. Not only in terms of monetary or financially, I mean in terms of diversity, in terms of as successful countries, there are quite a few.
Okay.
Look up countries which were formed after that.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, let me.
But anyway, Israel was a bad example. Any other country?
No, wait, hang on. Let me turn to the example of a culture, an old country which is, multicultural. Because the United States, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's I guess a young country on sort of global standards, right?
Still raining, yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, drizzling. So you could say, oh, look at America. They're like,
Oh, America is what?
Anyone
250 years old? How old is it?
76 is when it was founded, right? So
Something, yeah, not that old.
So you could say, oh, look at America. America has people coming, from all over the world, right? It's got people.
Yeah.
You can go there.
Have they not benefited?
Land of the free. Well, okay. So here's the interesting thing. Let me
Go on.
say this, right? So are they doing amazingly right now? Are they? I mean, they're a global
What is this?
superpower.
Exactly.
Right? Yes, but if you look actually at the net budget effects of people who are not the original, sort of European settlers, it actually. Do you know how there'd be hundreds of billions of dollars richer if they basically didn't have a bunch of migrant leeches or children.
Hold on. Those Europeans were migrant leeches.
So we're playing this game. Okay, we're playing this game. Lovely.
Who does America belong to? Before the Europeans came there as colonialists.
Okay, I'm very glad you say this.
Yeah. Who did it belong to?
Let me.
And where are they today? You remember the example I gave you that wherever they go, they don't benefit the local people because the Native Americans have actually literally been wiped out. Yes, the same thing happened in Australia. Same thing happened in Australia. Yes, the ethnic minority they became the minority.
Okay, you just said they've been literally wiped out. They haven't literally wiped out.
When I say literally means they became the minority in their own country.
Okay, no, you said literally wiped out, implying it was.
So what you're suggesting shouldn't happen to your country, you actually did to other countries.
Okay, no, there is a.
When I say you, I mean Europeans.
Yeah,
okay,
so,
you know what I mean?
Okay, right. There is a difference between arriving in a piece of land where people have not.
I like the way you said arriving.
Hang on. Settling, colonizing.
Oh, they just came peacefully on a boat.
Okay, most of them
with roses.
Actually, most interactions.
With a peace pipe.
Most interactions were peaceful, actually, but fine. Okay, right, fine. Call it colonizing. Call it violently. I don't know. Whatever. War.
Why the natives not killed?
Of course,
in big numbers.
Of course.
In millions.
In big numbers.
No, not diseases. They brought the diseases.
In big numbers.
They brought the diseases as well.
In big numbers, but not as big numbers as everyone likes to say. Okay.
No, I'm not saying that.
Because people say, oh, it was a Native American genocide. Why then did the population only decline by 0.22% each year? Okay, that doesn't sound like a genocide to me.
Wait. You're saying that these people, they came there peacefully, they grabbed the land, and they just settled there?
I said many. I'm not sure about most. I don't have the data to say that. I'm saying many interactions were peaceful. Now there were individual
many interactions, but most were not peaceful.
I'm not sure if you could say most.
I would say most.
I'd have to check that.
The fact that the Native Americans today are a minority in their own continent. I would say continent because both North America and South America, both of them, they did not have a white European race existing before they were colonized. Do you agree with that?
Ish.
What do you mean if it's?
Right. So you're saying.
So you're saying they existed before? No, I'm not talking about wipe out here. I'm just asking in terms of population.
Yes.
Yes. Were the white Europeans there before they colonized those countries?
Well, actually, the salutarian hypothesis says that they might have been.
But I don't want might be. I want
Well,
facts.
I don't care.
I want facts.
That's what a hypothesis
No,
is.
don't give me speculations. Give me facts.
Well, I can't. Some people have a hypothesis that they weren't. Some people have the hypothesis.
Well,
that
many
they
people have hypotheses that are lizards walking amongst us.
Yeah,
so,
I know. So,
I'm going to believe that. Don't give me speculations. Give me facts.
You're giving me speculation as well.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm
You're saying maybe white people were never in America until they came.
I said about the numbers. Remember?
I don't know.
In numbers, they were not really. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody settled before Columbus came there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Right.
the Arabs went there because there are many Arabs who claim that they actually went to South America and to North America as well. Well, you can't say obviously. That is their theory.
No, I can because if you look at the salutarian hypothesis and you look at the evidence that it has.
Hypothesis. Again, hypothesis. Give me facts, bro. We are not talking about science theories here. We're talking about history.
I wonder if
history cannot be just hypothesis. When you have history, give me facts.
Do you understand that you can apply the scientific method to history?
You can, but it's speculation.
Of course, but you could broaden the definition to speculation and say that you could say that the idea that the Earth
why are you arguing about a point which is quite clear that before the Europeans came there, before they came to North and South America, they were even if I accept your hypothesis,
Okay, fine.
they probably were a small fraction, a small minority
I'm saying
in those
I don't know. I'm
continents.
saying I don't know.
Okay, anyway.
In fairness, I didn't come here,
Yeah.
prepared
So,
for debate.
so
Okay,
they were colonialists there. They came as colonialists, and that's a fact.
Sure.
And the local population was almost wiped out. Okay, I wouldn't say all of them, but almost wiped out.
Yeah.
And the reason that
Largely
happened is
through disease.
because of violence that they brought along,
Okay.
and the diseases they brought along with them.
Mostly diseases, and also
Who brought the diseases?
Of course, us.
Exactly.
Let's not forget the tribes killing each other as well. Okay.
No, look.
It's not like they were all living peacefully. And then
I didn't say they were.
then
Did
the
I say
evil
that?
European showed up.
That's a straw man argument. I never said that.
No, I'm
Every
saying that's
every
something
country
you
have
didn't
their
factor
own
in. It's not a
internal
straw man.
problems,
It's not a straw man.
but it doesn't mean you go and occupy that land and then wipe out the local
Sure,
population
right, okay.
just because you can go and thrive in there. By the way, what was the point you made?
I was
that became there?
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
gonna say, so
Yeah.
there is